How's it going, everyone? I'm the one and only 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿. Welcome back to a new video, and in today's video we're going to be simply taking a look at all of the Ascendancies through the lens of the Ruthless game mode. The Ruthless challenge mode, the hard mode, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to be taking a look at each of the Ascendancies one by one, looking over their points, and just kind of talking about which ascendancies are going to be good for Ruthless, and based off of a comment on yesterday's video that I had not previously thought about, based off the challenge of Ruthless and all the penalties and XP penalties, what order of priority you should be prioritizing the ascendancy points that are worth your time, because achieving the third and fourth ascendancy is going to be a really, really big challenge. So without further ado, if you're new here, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow, helps me a lot, helps me make the journey towards getting to steal some of YouTube and Google's money. So let's take that journey together. And yeah, so let's dive into talking about each of the ascendancies one by one. I'm going to save Ascendant for last, which is the Scion's Ascendancy. That way you have context for all of the possible Ascendant passives. So we're going to talk about, start at the top, and we're just going to go clockwise and go around. I have Path of Building, the Path of Building community fork here. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up. Just Google Path of Building community fork. Make sure you specify community fork, because the original Path of Building is no longer up to date. So there you go. So starting off, looking at the Occultist, right? So Occultist, very decent option, very good start. Occultist will be a decent option if you want to go for something that will be using, what is it called? Eldritch Battery. If you're going for something using Eldritch Battery, which is a very, very strong option, given that there's going to be a lot of resource problems. Mana problems are going to be very, very profound here, because you're going to have a hard time with flasks. Your flasks will not refill when you go back to town. You're going to have to, go talk to the vendor, refill them every time. So you're probably not going to want to do that. You're probably going to want to try to make your builds as not annoying as possible. And you can take something like Vile Bastion. Vile Bastion, you just regenerate 40 ES per second. And with Eldritch Battery, that's effectively 40 flat mana regen a second, which is a lot. That is a lot. And you get stun immunity while you have Energy Shield. That does apply even while you have Eldritch Battery. Very, very good. Very nice. It's a very good thing. You get 2% regeneration as well, up to 10% for enemies and stuff killed recently. Very good. Forbidden Power, not as good. Forbidden Power is not as good because you're going to need a lot of power charges before this really helps you. And with the lack of skill points, you're probably almost never going to be taking Forbidden Power. Void Beacon and either Withering Presence if you're going for a Chaos build or Chaos Dot build, or Frigid Wake if you're going for a cold-based Occultist. Both of these, with the travel node of -20 cold res to nearby enemies, very good. You get Res Shred built in. You get to deal with life regenning enemies very easily, and just a lot of damage. Malediction +1 curse effect, and you can apply, it's just the extra tankiness and extra damage. And then Profane Bloom is where you can affect curse afflicted enemies. Occultist is pretty good, but it's not great overall. And again, you're probably going to mostly be taking Void Beacon, and then your one type of that, and then sorry, I need a little bit of water. And then you're going to be going Vile Bastion or Forbidden Power or something like that. Like, it just depends on what kind of build you're going. But you'll probably, and then your Uber Lab, you may never reach the point of clearing the Uber Lab in Ruthless. It's just going to take a long time, a lot of time investment, and just gearing yourself up to the point of being able to beat Izaro might take you like a week or two. So just be prepared for that. Moving on, Elementalist. So simply put, you have your three types, all damage shocks, all damage chills and freezes, and all damage can ignite. and damage for all 3 types and stuff like that, and more shock effect, etc. You get the idea. Elementalist is pretty good for the budget of points, because what you can do, you can take your type of damage. So if you're doing an Ignite build, you can do that, and then you just take Mastermind of Discord to get mana regeneration and additional exposure afflicted for free. And you probably won't take that unless you really need more damage. You'll probably take that, Shaper of Flames, Mastermind of Discord, and then Bastion of Elements to get the additional defensive layer to help you with elemental damage. Or you'll take +1 golems to have an additional golem and have the golems resummon. So those are probably going to be your main elementalist pieces. It's pretty easy, pretty point efficient. It's not super defensive, as it always struggles with. So in Ruthless, you know, the Witch is going to kind of be a struggle bus a little bit. Necromancer, I shudder to even like describe these, because Necro is going to suffer. You need so many skill gems for Necro to be good that I really cannot in good conscience recommend a Necromancer unless you are just determined to make a Necromancer work. Plus, it's extremely gear dependent. So Necro, not highly recommended, but here we go. You're definitely going to want to prioritize Commander of Darkness for sure. I mean, the res, especially while leveling, you can spec out of this later, but this node right here, the +30 Ellie res, might literally be your first pick in Ruthless, because +30 elemental res, 30 damage, 3% attack and cast speed. So good. And then you can do something like this if you want mana problems solved as well. You can then take Mindless Aggression if you're fully committing to minions. You can do something like that. And then you'll probably end up taking something like, you'll probably take Mistress of Sacrifice over the Bone Armor. And then what you'll do is eventually you'll spec out of Essence Gluttony once you have enough mana sustained for yourself in some form or another. Then you'll just drop Essence Glutton and take Bone Barrier. So then your final pick for a minion build will be Commander of Darkness, Mindless Aggression, Bone Armor, and then eventually you'll probably take this as your last one, because you need like Bone Offering and, you know, like increased duration and yada yada yada. Like you need a lot of stuff for this to really actually help you, and until you can get Bone Offering, it's useless, it's dead. So prioritize the things that will directly help you. And then Plaguebringer and Corpse Pact, only good if you're doing Cremation, Volatile Dead. If you are going to do those things and you're going to do a Spellslinger, you're absolutely going to take this node. I highly recommend it. It helps the mana problems just vanish. You will no longer have any mana problems doing those. So you take this, you take these two, and that's literally your, I mean, that's it. That's your 3. And then from there, you either have the option of doing Mistress of Sacrifice or Commander of Darkness. Myself personally, I'd probably just take Commander of Darkness and Ruthless, because until you have Bone Offering, it's not even really worth it. And then eventually you can spec out of it once you have enough resistances, and the extra block chance will help you. So there you go. That's the 3 for the Witch. I'll try to keep these as short as possible. This video is going to be a bit longer. I am sorry about that. Yeah, we're already at 11 minutes. So I'm sorry. This is going to be a longer video, but let's continue through it. So Shadow's going to be rough. Shadow is decent for crit, but crit usually requires zealotry, precision, a lot of crit scaling on your weapons and armor and other things. Assassin is going to struggle. You're never going to use the crit poisons, I don't believe, personally. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody will prove me wrong in the Path of Exile community, but I don't see those being good. This just struggles a lot to be good. You're never going to use that anyway. So your 4 are probably going to be, you're probably going to take that for all the crit damage that you can get. And then you're going to take Mistwalker to get the elusive. You might honestly take Mistwalker to get elusive and movement speed. and then you go for those other two as you go along. And then this will probably be your final. If you get to 4, it's probably just still going to be the same 4 that it always is for Shadow. I mean, Assassin. Yeah, I mean, it's just... Assassin is probably not going to be very good for Ruthless, I'll be totally honest with you. So, moving on to Trickster. Heartstopper is decent. It is a rotating buff. Every 5 seconds, you get 40% less damage taken from hits, so it's like a very powerful fortify. It's not bad. So this is definitely an option. You'll always be taking... Where is it? I forgot which node is it. Is it up here? Yeah, Polymath. You'll be taking Polymath because the sustain will just make you feel so much nicer. If you're going to play Shadow, play this unless you're playing specifically Trap and Mines. So Polymath, very good. You'll take Polymath first, almost guaranteed. Then you can take either One Step Ahead or Escape Artist. And then from there, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing something that can use Energy Shield as a resource, something like, again, another Eldritch Battery type setup, then you'll probably take Soul Drinker. If not, you'll probably just take the chances of press spell damage for tankiness guaranteed, or you can take Heartstopper. So Shadow Trickster, its biggest strength is that it is very versatile. You can use this with a lot of different build types. And then One Step Ahead, Heartstopper, and Escape Artist, like, if you wanted to do those 4, you have a very generically good character. So, weaknesses, it just very much struggles to come online in a very powerful way, like with the Witch. If you get 2 nodes into the Witch, or 2 nodes into the Occultist, or even 2 nodes into the Necro, you're good. Like, you're going to be very, very feeling very strong. But, like, you get Polymath, this is dependent on skill points, first of all, because you need masteries allocated. So, yeah, that's going to be a very big downside for Trickster. I didn't even think about that until just now. Trickster's going to be rough. I would say probably avoid Trickster, Assassin, probably just avoid Shadow, because you're going to be leveling with Viper Strike. And if you want to go see my fixed Viper Strike video, you can see the problems that I have with it, and you're going to be stuck with Viper Strike for foreseeably a few levels at least. I don't even like Saboteur. Like, if you know about Saboteur, you know it's fucking crazy. It's insane. Throw additional traps, reduced cooldown of traps, AoE of traps. You're going to take that. You're going to take the blinded. Nearby enemies are blinded on hit, so you're going to take those 3 points, and then your last one is probably just this, or you might honestly take like you might even take, well, no, you probably really want these things to help your damage a lot, and then you'll probably take this because then you get shock and ignite immune, you get the regen, and then you take this as your final tankiness boost. This will help you a lot. But, it's up to you. These are the 4 that you will take. You're almost never going to use this. You're almost never going to be using mines instead of traps out of Saboteur. But if you are, you know what you do. You do those 2 instead of the trap nodes, and then it's the same thing. There you go. Saboteur, always good, always consistent. It's probably going to do fine. Let's move on. Ranger. We're moving down to Ranger. We're going to be talking about the Deadeye. So, Deadeye, very strong, very good. You're going to probably take Tailwind, just the Tailwind node. Then you're probably going to take... It varies. It definitely varies based off what kind of build you're going. But you'll probably take Tailwind. You'll probably take Focal Point so that you can have your marks proliferate. This will be dependent on, do you have a mark skill? So, probably until you have a mark skill, you're probably not even going to spec this. This might be your 4th. So you go Gathering Winds, you'll go probably Ricochet if you're playing Deadeye, and then +2 Proj, and then you'll get this as your 4th point. Or if you want the tankiness of this, you can take Wind Ward, but you don't play Deadeye for tankiness. Deadeye is a squishy DPS burst character, so there you go. Deadeye, pretty good, only DPS. It has no utility other than the Focal Point. So keep that in mind. Pathfinder. Pathfinder, probably don't go Pathfinder unless you're going purely for a poison build. It does have the flask regeneration. So flask charges will be gaining 3 flask charges every second. All flasks. Chance to not consume, that's pretty good. So I might have, discounted it before considering it. You're probably not going to use this. You probably just take this node. Then you go Adrenaline, and then you go... literally, you're only going to use Pathfinder for if you're going a, the Toxic Flask throw. I forgot what it's called. Poisonous Concoction. You're going to run Nature's Boon, you're going to run Adrenaline, and you're going to run these 2 things. So your order of priority will probably be Nature's Boon for the convenience. Then you will take Master Toxist, and then you will take, just because you really want the yeah, probably so. You really want the proliferation to help you, but I mean, it's up to you. You may not even need the proliferation with Poison Concoction, so it's that, and then this will be your 4th point for sure. The movement and attack speed will be useful, but not necessary to function, so that, or these 2 are interchangeable. Otherwise, you're never touching that, because if you're going to go for an elemental bow build, you're probably going Deadeye, or more likely, you're going to go Raider. Raider is going to be absolutely crazy insane. I genuinely think we're going to see so many Raiders in Ruthless, it's going to be disgusting. It might be the thing that gets Raider finally nerfed. So you are definitely going to start out taking this. You're going to get Quartz Infusion. You're absolutely going to take it. You're going to take Avatar of the Veil for the damage, the convenience, the ailment avoidance. And between these 2 nodes, you're going to get 40% spell suppression. You get phasing, so you're never going to be enemy locked. You are 40% chance to suppress spell damage, 50% chance to avoid elemental ailments. So that's Ignite, Chill, Shock, Sap, Scorch, Brittle. You can see it listed there on the page. And, I mean, it's just very good, because also in proximity to it, if you are unaware of why that is so good, 50% there, and then you spec all 5 of these points, and you are 100% ailment avoidant to all elemental ailments. You will not be touched by them at all. And then you'll get +1 maximum Ellie res, which is really, really good. So just from this, and coming down to here, which you'll probably be pathing anyway, you're ailment immune. You have 40% spell suppression, and so from the rest of your tree, you will realistically be getting to about anywhere from 60 to 80% spell suppression just from playing Raider in this side of the tree. It's just too good to pass up. I mean, and then for your 3rd and 4th, I would say probably you'll be taking, you'll probably take Onslaught and Avatar of the Chase, because there's no guarantee that you will see a Blood Rage. Without Blood Rage, you can't really consistently proc Way of the Poacher, so it'll probably just be the top 4 here. Raider has pretty much only strengths. I mean, unfortunately, you won't be getting movement speed from Onslaught. They said Onslaught will not grant movement speed in this mode, so it's just 20% attack and cast speed. That's still really good. And then with a plus 100% effect, that's 40% attack and cast speed. That's really, really good. Like, that's just good. And then you have these defenses, which, as I said, take this first. Take Quartz Infusion, take Avatar first. Then you'll get Onslaught for your 3rd, and then eventually, as you make your way up, you'll get this. You're definitely going to be playing an evasion-based character on this side of the tree. Just love yourself. Don't try to do anything else. That's Raider in a nutshell. So I say let's move on. It's going to be probably one of the strongest choices. It doesn't even really have any downsides like the others do. So let's move on. So, Slayer. Slayer has built-in life leech. That's literally its entire mechanic. You will almost certainly be at least taking Brutal Fervor, because it has life leech effects are not removed when unreserved life is filled, you will have built-in, so just easy life leech access. And then from there, you can take Bane of Legends, probably will be very good because then you don't have to worry about Reflected Fizz. You can go any Fizz build, and you're good from there. And then you can take, like, Overwhelm. If you want to do any crit-based melee character, Slayer's a very strong option because you don't have to worry about your crit as much on your weapon. Your weapon scaling matters less. It makes the base crit chance of attacks with weapons 8%. You no longer have to worry about, oh, is my weapon's crit chance scaled like perfectly? This helps you overwrite that, and then you also get crit multi built in. And then from there, like I said, you're probably going to take Brutal Fervor first. You're probably going to then take either Impact for the AoE, or you can take Bane of Legends for more damage and no Fizz Reflection to worry about anymore at all. And then you will probably take Overwhelm or, again, Impact. Like, these upper two, you're probably not going to be doing. I mean, Headsman is good. It is a cull, or a 20%, you just kill the enemy once they get to 20% life, and then they just die. Could be very good for bossing in this, because bossing will be a problem, but more than likely, you're not going to be worrying about that as much. There is a world where you literally just take Brutal Fervor, you go up to Headsman, and then your last point is whatever you need based off of where you are in the game. You're probably never going to take Endless Hunger, so then you just take Overwhelm or Impact, or if you have a way to generate charges are going to be not as effective in Ruthless, because you're not going to have Blood Rage, you're not going to have the power charge on critical hit. You're gonna be lacking a lot of the gems necessary to help charges feel good. You're not gonna have Enduring Cry, so this node is probably out, and that's one of the biggest weaknesses. Anything that relies on charges or doesn't have a way to self-generate is going to struggle to use those effectively. So let's move on. Slayer, kind of a mid choice, not great. Champion, I mean, it needs no introduction. Champion has been insane in the last few leagues. And, it's just generally very, very good. You will almost certainly, where is it? You're probably going to take these two nodes so that you just have the maximum fortification all the time. My brother, I was talking to him about it. He wants to play this when Ruthless comes out. So he's going to play this and then Fortitude. And then from there, it really varies based off what you want. I would say you will probably go for either Conqueror to have the taunt and the reduced damage, and enemies, taunted, deal less damage to you. And then from there, you can literally take whatever you want. You can either take Inspirational to get banners, to get, where you can use a banner skill with no reservation. Or, actually you can use several banners, I think. Or no, you can only have one banner active at a time, something like that. I forget. There's a cap. Champion is going to be insane because you just get built-in fortification. You get additional fortification and with no additional steps. And yeah, it's just very, very strong, very, very good. Champion, it doesn't even really have any weaknesses outside of the point allotment. You're going to struggle a little bit to reach. Guaranteed your minimum is 2 here. And then your third one is useful, but you're probably just going to get Fortitude, Conqueror, and then you're probably just going to take Inspirational. That's probably your 4, and that's going to be it pretty much. That's going to be the standard play. Let's move on to the weakest choice, in my opinion, of the duelist ascendancies. Gladiator. Gladiator has built-in charge generation. It also has some built-in stuff for shields if you want to do shielding and blocking, but I can't in good conscience recommend playing Gladiator because unless you are specifically doing a bleed build, it's just not very good. you can do Gladiator and do bleed, and then you just get, you know, these 2 nodes for sure for damage. And then your last 2 points is probably going to be maybe 1 here so that you get the charge generation, and then you'll put 1 here for the chance to block, and you cannot be stunned by hits you block. That's probably going to be it. Or you take those 2, and then you get Arena Challenger last for just pure offensive squishy DPS. It's kind of like going Deadeye for the Ranger, but it's just not going to be that great. I think this is going to struggle a lot to keep up and compete with a meta for Ruthless. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. I think Gladiator is going to be very weak. So we'll come back to Ascendant in a second once we've covered these 2. Juggernaut, I mean, it's not great overall right now. It's in a pretty abysmal state, and they removed a lot from it overall. So you will likely take Unflinching so that you get your built-in endurance charge generation. And then from there, you will go with Unrelenting, probably. No, maybe not. Yeah, you'll go with Unyielding. That's what I'm thinking of. You'll go with Unflinching, Unyielding, and then your last ones will be like probably Untiring to have that additional regeneration and tankiness. And then it varies. Like you can take Unstoppable for your last one to get the cannot be stunned and to get the movement speed cannot be reduced. But you really need Unflinching, and you might save Unyielding for last. Realistically, you might go Unflinching, Untiring, and Unstoppable, and then go Unyielding as your 4th, because it's just damage at the end of the day. And that's kind of the problem where Jug struggles. Juggernaut is a tank. It is a tank class, and you really are already going to be hurting for damage so badly. I don't think I can recommend Juggernaut in good conscience either. It's the opposite problem of Gladiator. It has no tankiness to offer you, or it has no damage to offer you outside of Unyielding, which takes at least 2 points, which means you won't see that until you're around level 50 or above, and that's just so bad. Why? Like, you'll never be there. Like, I think you'll be in Act 7 before you even get to see this, and that's terrible. So no, probably don't go Juggernaut. Let's move on to Berserker. Berserker is the DPS, the squishy DPS. It is the quintessential of that. You just Aspect of Carnage, you get 40% more damage. It is a literal like support gem level of more damage, and you take 10% increased damage, so you might get one shot. Be careful. And then from here, let's see. Oh, that's right. They got rid of the leech node. So my recommendation is you'll probably go with, what do the blitz charge give you? They give you attack speed and reduced crit, but you gain blitz charges on critical strike. That might be kind of a pain to deal with. You probably just take Flawless Savagery. You probably take Aspect of Carnage, and then you just take the rage generators so that you get the built-in rage. You get the inherent bonuses are tripled from rage, so you get attack speed, attack damage, and movement speed from it, and it just helps you with clear. But you really don't want to take this part of it until you have some sustain, so you'll have to wait until you can get a blood rage and have some life steal in your tree and stuff. But yeah, you'll probably start with this or this. If you're feeling ballsy, you can take Aspect of Carnage first. Then you can take Crave the Slaughter, which I would say probably take Crave the Slaughter to get rage generation. So you have movement speed, attack speed, damage. Then for your second point, go with either Aspect of Carnage or Flawless Savagery based off where you are in your build, and then take the other one once you have that. And then this will be your fourth point. That's what I would do personally. It struggles with tankiness. It has the exact opposite problem of Juggernaut. It has all damage. You will get one shot. So just be prepared to die and deal with the consequences of that. Bosses will heal for a chunk. We don't know what that means, but they'll heal for a chunk of their damage when you die. So just be prepared. Act bosses and bosses probably in maps. Just be aware. Okay, so Chieftain up now. So Chieftain is pretty decent, honestly, for point investment. You can literally just take Nagamu's Flame Advance, and then you take Hinakora's Death Fury, and you just take those 2 nodes for a hit-based build. If you're going for a dot build, for a fire dot build, you probably just go Elementalist, but honestly, Chieftain might not be a terrible play because it has a lot more tankiness than the Elementalist does. So you take, if you're doing a dot build, for instance, you take Ramako, and you still take this because 1% fire damage leeches life, really good. Cover enemies in Ash, really, really good. It applies less movement speed and 20% increased fire damage taken, which, if you don't know what that means, increased fire damage taken applies after your calculations. It's a 20% increase on your total damage onto the monster. So if you're dealing 1,000,000 damage with a hit, 20% fire damage taken makes that 1.2 million, basically 1,200,000 damage to the enemy. It's very good. And with the point budget that you'll have, you either take Voloko Storm's Embrace to get life regen, which is probably what you'll do, or if you're struggling with resistances, you can take Tesalio Cleansing Water here, and it's really, really good. It's really strong. Plus 100 fire res, so you no longer have to worry about fire res pretty much, almost at all. And you get 20% of fizz converted to fire, so it's like taken as fire. So it mitigates 20% of your physical damage into like you're taking like 15% less physical damage, basically. And then recovery rate of life, if you've taken a fire damage from a hit recently, because you're getting the fizz conversion, you're always going to be taking fire damage hits. It's always up. It's very good, very strong. And then whichever one you don't take for your third, you take for your fourth. It pretty much writes itself. You take one of these 2 paths, and then you take Tesalio, and then Voloko, or Voloko, and then Tesalio. Chieftain is a very, very good option. It has a very nice balance of damage and tankiness. Very recommended. It's easy point layout. And then otherwise, I mean, these other points are only useful if you're playing Totem or if you want to go for a hipster, multi-clone hitting JoJo stand kind of build. It's just not worth doing for the current part of the game without specifically doing a build for that. I'm going to be talking about this in a quadcast consecrated path build that I'm going to make in 3.20. Let's move on to the last set of the 3, and then I'll talk about the Ascendant last, and then we'll be done with the video. I'm sorry this is taking so long. I just really wanted to talk about each of these, and yeah, so it's okay. I wanted to talk about each of them in depth. Here we go. So Inquisitor I talked about yesterday, so I won't spend too long harping on it. Literally, for Ruthless, you're probably going to be taking, likely you're going to be taking these 2 first, depending on, it struggles a little bit with the same problem that the Assassin did, but you don't need 100% crit chance for it to feel good. If you can get to around the 50, 60, 75% crit chance mark, very, very strong. Feels good. You have plus 50 strength and int, so gear requirements are less tight. And then you take this for your third, and you just get the consecrated ground. Or what I might do personally, take Sanctuary so you have the consecrated ground. I personally will probably take Pious Path because then you get life regen and that, and then you go down here and you get this at the end because likely during leveling you won't have enough crit chance. So that's probably the path I'll take. If I'm going to play an Inquisitor, I'll go Sanctuary, Pious Path, Righteous Providence, and then Inevitable Judgment last for my 4th point. Good balance of tankiness and damage. And then if you're not going for a crit-based build, you can go for Augury of Penitence, and you'll probably still go Righteous Providence just for the strength and some extra crit chance. Because unless you're going for a specifically Battle Mage build, this is useless to you. So it's probably going to be Pious Path and all the way make your way to Inevitable Judgment after that. Pretty good, pretty easy. Let's move on to Hierophant. Hierophant, I mean, this one's kind of in a weird spot. You will probably take something like, you'll likely take Arcane Blessing so that you get constant uptime on Arcane Surge. Helps with your resource problems. Pretty good. You'll take Conviction of Power at some point just to help with power charges and endurance charges. Gives you tankiness and stuff. And then you'll take like Divine Guidance and Sanctuary of Thought probably to help you with reservation efficiency and running more auras and stuff. Unless you're going specifically for a totem build, then you'll have to fit that in, but you'll probably just go Pursuit of Faith, Ritual of Awakening, which actually you probably don't even do that. You probably just take Pursuit of Faith, Divine Guidance, Sanctuary of Thought, and then you just go Conviction of Power or Arcane Blessing, depending on which one you need more. But yeah, that's for totems. Non-totem Hierophant, you just go Arcane Blessing. You probably take these two, and then your last one will be this, because again, the charges won't help you that much until later on. This could be useful during leveling because the 4 endurance charges gives you Fizz damage reduction and elemental res. It does have some tankiness and damage, but I think you're better off just going Inquisitor if you're going to try to do some stuff like this. But this does also have reservation efficiency and stuff, so I don't know. There's arguments for both. Try it out. I'll let other people do some testing. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I do not know anything about Guardian. I've never played a Guardian. They are a aura bot character. I mean, probably just don't play Guardian unless you know something I don't. I'm not really even going to spend any more time on it because, as I said, I know nothing about Guardian. They are an aura bot character, so probably don't worry about playing this because you're not going to have enough skill gems to be an aura bot, so play something else. Play a curse bot occultist before you play aura bot guardian. Alright, and so now, last but not least, let's talk about the Ascendant real quick. If you don't know what the Ascendant is, it's the Ascendancy of the Scion, and it's the Jack of all trades. It gets a little bit of everything, and it can start from whatever tree you pick on this node. So this one's going to be strong. Certain combinations will be better than others. I think the Raider or the Pathfinder and Inquisitor is very, very good. I think going something like, any combination of these that would previously work, something like this where you get Cull, Life Leech, and then you just go Raider. You could probably go literally just Raider Slayer combo, and then just start from either or, whichever one you want to do more. If you want to go Armor, start from the Slayer side of things. If you want to go Evasion, go Ranger side of things. And yeah, Ascendant is just good. It emphasizes a lot of the best aspects of these characters. I think Ascendant will be good. Its problem is that it's not very focused, and you need a lot of Ascendancy points. But it does also give you a few extra passive skill points. So there's some balance to be talked about and some other things. But I also don't know a ton about Ascendant. So I would say probably play around with it. Experiment. See what combinations seem good. Download Path of Building, Community Fork if you want to play around with these things yourself. I've let this video go on for way too long, so I'm sorry about that. If you're still around, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you for sticking around. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate you all watching and being here. And comment down below what Ascendancy you think I should have talked more about, I missed something about, or which Ascendancy you think you're going to play in Ruthless. Let me know what you're thinking about. Let me hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. If I enjoy your comment, I'll give it a little heart. And yeah. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all for a new video on Monday, where I'll probably upload a video talking about Mayhem with some footage and stuff from over the weekend. Hope you all have a great day, and see you next time.